You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted best of Pahrump for 4 years. Give them a call, 775-727-9900. News 25 is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating. New, service, and repair. Call Gunny's, 775-727-6800.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News 25. I'm Gunette Gentry. Thanks for joining us on Ace Country Radio, and we're also streaming at KPVM.TV. We're also on your Roku devices. It is Tuesday, June 16th. In our top story, in the upcoming months, News 25 will be occasionally checking in with voters, newsmakers, and anyone who participated in the recent Nye County elections. Today, we chat with Dwight Lilly, a very informed political observer who's offering his commentary on race results.
News 25, it's Chris Palermo, and we've welcomed in a special guest today, Dwight Lilly. Dwight, welcome to News 25.
Well, thank you, Chris. Thanks for having me.
We brought you in here today because what we're doing, we're gathering some feedback. We had the elections last week. The results are still sort of rolling in. We're almost done. They're counting and curing some signatures and all that jazz. But you are a man about town, a well-informed voter. I guess you just described yourself as an activist, and I said maybe an independent journalist, and I want to bring you on, and we're going to do a little Monday morning quarterbacking and a little bit feedback on the election. So, and also, before we get into election results, just today, Tuesday, the County Commission speaking and meeting about possibly over phases, 5,000 homes. They call it Mountain Falls South, some development on the south side of town. What's your take on that?
Well, okay. When I moved here, there was Mountain Falls going on, so this is kind of a little background. And I found out about the water situation here in Pahrump because, like many people, we were told there was an ocean of water underneath Pahrump. Well, there really wasn't. And so I was concerned about this expanding water. I was told, well, we can't do anything about it because they have a development agreement. You know, they have a legal right to build those homes. So when the Advent development came along, I thought, well, okay, so we still don't have a water study here. The state engineer just released information that we won't have the water study till 2027. So we don't really know how much water we have to service those 5,000 homes.
I think they're anxious to provide some affordable housing because, for example, these houses generally 500, maybe 600,000. That's half the price of what you'd pay in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, it is.
So I think that's why they meant. Let's move on to the actual politics here. Speaking of sheriffs, are we going to have a sheriff runoff election?
Yes.
Because we didn't get 50% of votes. That's what's going to happen.
Yes, the sheriff race has been an interesting race. Well, the sheriff history of Trump has been interesting. And it's got a runoff between Dan Pinu, I pronounced his last name, and Sheriff Joe McGill, which I was really shocked, to tell you the truth, on the outcome of that primary, because I interviewed Dan once when it was down at the Nugget. They had the candidate, and he didn't really want to talk. And then when I went to the interview that you guys covered down at the Nugget, he basically didn't want to talk to people. And I thought to myself, he might have a problem.
William Hochstedler won as public administrator. Some people said that Ginger Simpson has been doing a good job. What's your take on that one?
Okay, well, the public administrator history here has been not a very brilliant one. We've had public administrators in the past that were accused of basically pilfering people's property. So when the public administrator race came up, Bill Hochstedler came to meetings I was at. He had actually put together a book.
Let's talk about Kayla Ball. She also overtook incumbent.
Yes, Kayla, I've interviewed her on radio here when she was 17 years old. She is definitely an upcoming person, very intelligent, very articulate, and I think that her personality, she's just overwhelmed the current, clerk.
Let's try to end with a lightning round here on the county commissioners. Ron Boscovich lost to Deb Thomas.
Okay, Ron Boscovich, I think, got caught up in the issues with the county commission, the budget issues that have come up, the fact that there's a lot of people that think transparency is lacking.
Deb Strickland lost, and Matt Sadler really literally has quite a grassroots following.
Yes, well, when you look at what Matt Sadler's campaign is, it's taking care of my neighbors, taking care of the people. I'm not into development unless it makes sense. Whereas Deborah, I think what really affected her was the fairgrounds project. She was out of touch with what the people in the 5th District were concerned about, so she lost her way.
Dwight, Lily, thank you so much
bet,
for
Chris.
coming on. We're going to have you on, well, right up until November and whenever the news dictates.
Yeah, anytime you want me to come in, I'll give you what's going on out on the street.
Thanks for those opinions. And if you've ever wanted to throw a water balloon at the sheriff, now's your chance, and it's all for a great cause. Walmart and the Nye County Sheriff's Office are teaming up on Wednesday afternoon to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals.
Walmart and the Nye County Sheriff's Office are teaming up once again to help make a difference for local children and families through Children's Miracle Network hospitals. The community is invited to take part in a fun-filled water balloon fundraiser tomorrow, Wednesday, June 17th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Pahrump Walmart on Highway 160. For just $1 per balloon, participants can test their aim by tossing water balloons at Nye County Sheriff Joe McGill and several members of the Nye County Sheriff's Office, all while supporting a great cause. Organizers say every dollar raised will benefit Children's Miracle Network hospitals, helping provide critical care, equipment, and support for children in need. It's an afternoon of fun, community spirit, and giving back to a cause that changes lives. For more information, stop by the Pahrump Walmart tomorrow between 1 and 3 p.m. and help make miracles happen.
Well, those temperatures are heating up and it is getting hot out there. And those air conditioners in our homes are starting to work overtime. That's why Valley Electric Association is sharing the lowdown on how this hot weather can turn up the demand for electricity and how it's affecting your wallet.
This segment of News 25 is brought to you by Valley Electric and its family of companies focused on serving our members. We're better together.
Electricity is essential for everyday life, so essential that we rarely think about how it's produced and delivered to our homes. But behind the scenes, there's a network of people working to anticipate how much electricity you will need before you even use it. So how do you typically receive the exact amount of electricity you need? We're all connected to the electric grid. Electricity is delivered to our homes and businesses through a complex network of electric generation sources and thousands of miles of electrical lines that work together to power our lives. Electricity is first generated at a power plant using either traditional sources like coal, natural gas, and nuclear energy, or renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower. In most parts of the country, the amount of electricity that's generated and how much is sent where it's needed are coordinated and monitored by regional transmission organizations and independent system operators. In other areas, individual electric utilities perform these tasks. RTOs, ISOs, and electric utilities are like energy traffic managers that forecast when you, your neighbors, and our community will need more power and take steps to ensure there's enough to meet your needs. This whole process is managed through an electricity market, including long-term contracts where electricity is bought and sold like other common goods and services. Electricity demand varies throughout the day. For example, utilities know that we need more electricity in the mornings when we're starting our day and in the evenings when we're cooking dinner, running appliances, and watching TV. The supply and demand of electricity constantly changes, so the challenge is to plan for and purchase enough electricity to be available when we need it. It's a complex job. That's why we have energy traffic managers in place to direct the electricity we need and keep the electric grid balanced.
And don't grab that remote. We have some exciting sports news and some unfortunate letdowns for VGK and the Aces. That and more after this break.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, some sad news out of the local sports world as John Tortorella's tenure as head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights unfortunately comes to an end. Mikey Ruhan has that and more in sports now.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices. John Tortorella's tenure as head coach of the Vegas Golden Knights has come to an end. The team announced Tuesday that Tortorella will not return for the 2026-27 season, wrapping up one of the shortest coaching stints in the franchise history. Some coaches leave a legacy. Torts leaves behind a few sound bites, a few headlines, and probably a couple of dented water bottles. GM Kelly McCrimmon thanked Tortorella for his leadership since joining the club in March. Meanwhile, Las Vegas's PWHL franchise made a blockbuster move, trading future Hall of Famer Hillary Knight to Detroit in exchange for a third overall pick in the 2026 draft. The move gives Las Vegas both the third and fifth overall selections in the upcoming draft, proving the team is thinking long-term, even if Knight's Vegas residency lasted about as long as a buffet coupon. The Las Vegas Aces had a rough night in Texas, falling behind 28 points in the first half before dropping a 96-66 decision to the Dallas Wings. Jewel Lloyd led the way with a season-high 21 points, while Aja Wilson added 18. The Aces snapped a 6-game win streak. Next up, Las Vegas heads to Phoenix on Wednesday in a must-win game against the Mercury as the Aces look to punch their ticket to the Commissioner's Cup Championship. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. And baseball returns to Summerlin tonight as the Las Vegas Aviators open a 6-game homestand against the Round Rock Express. The Aviators are wrapping up their first half of the season and looking to keep building momentum. First pitch is at 7:05. If you're heading out, remember it's AAA baseball, so there's a decent chance you'll see future major leaguers and at least one fan trying to catch a foul ball with a nacho tray. And that's your look at sports on News 25.
Thanks so much, Mikey. And in more local news, Josh Osborne from Great Computer Deals here in Pahrump is telling us again how to stay safe while online. Great tips on how to not get tricked into giving away your money to a bank impersonator or scammer coming up now.
Hey guys, Josh Osborne here with Pahrump's own Great Computer Deals. It's time for another quick tutorial. We are moving right along in our new video series called The Top 5 Ways That Scammers Try to Get to You. If you've not watched our other videos, method number 1 that we discussed in the very first video is what we call fake tech support calls. Method number 2 is what we call fake tech support pop-ups. And method number 3 is what we call refund and overpayment scams. Today we're talking about method number 4, which is called bank impersonation calls. Now this is exactly what you might think it is. It's where somebody from a foreign country, one of these corrupt scamming corporations, contacts you and says that they're from your bank and that your bank account is no longer safe.
Your bank account has been compromised. To avoid loss of funds, we must transfer your funds to a secure account. I'll walk you through it.
And you need to immediately remove the funds from that account, put it into another account for safe keeping. And again, this sounds very extreme and you would think, why would anybody believe this? But unfortunately, it happens all the time. We had a good customer of ours that fell victim to it just a few months ago. They received this call. The person told them that their savings account was compromised. And with the scammer on the phone, that customer drove down to their bank, withdrew $10,000 of their savings, and then drove over to a gas station to one of those Bitcoin deposit machines. And with the scammer's advice, deposited all $10,000 into that machine and wired that money over to him, thinking the entire time that he was putting his savings into a new, safer account. It was all lies. And it was a very, very sad day when that gentleman came into our store because we had to let him know there was literally nothing we could do at that point. Once that money has been wired, it is good as gone. So learn from his mistake. Never, ever, ever believe the person that's on the phone. Always question everything. This is 2025. Scams are at an all-time high. You have to use common sense. You have to question everything. If you're unsure, go down to your bank in person, or better yet, you want to save some time, get out your card, your debit card or your credit card, and call the 800 number on the back of that so you can be assured you're talking to somebody actually from your bank and confirm what that person told you on the phone. I'm gonna guarantee that what they told you was a lie. You're gonna get set straight when you talk to a legitimate person from your bank. Anyway, we got more to talk about. We got one more method that we have not discussed. Hope you guys watch it. Make sure to check out the next quick tutorial.
Health and weather's up next, and we're telling you just how hot it's going to get this Juneteenth weekend after the break.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back. In today's health news, we're shining a light on a serious childhood growth disorder. And medical experts say it's a difficult name to pronounce and an even harder diagnosis to live with.
In the United States, achondroplasia has an estimated pediatric prevalence of about 3 children per 100,000. Around 80% of children with the condition have average height parents. Medical complications can vary from person to person and may change throughout different stages of life. From infancy through adulthood, achondroplasia can increase the risk of a variety of health challenges.
So the complications are partly related to the bone differences that cause differences in other parts of the skeleton. So for instance, the shape of the skull base is different in people with achondroplasia. So the way the brain sits in the skull base, as well as connects with the spinal cord below the skull, is a little bit different. And sometimes there can be compression and things like that that cause problems with breathing. There can also be compression of the spinal cord lower down in the back, and that can also result in issues with the lower extremities, like the legs in terms of strength, reflexes, and so on.
The good news is that there are treatment options available, including medications that may help manage some of the symptoms of achondroplasia.
And there are medicines that are available for you to take that could help you kind of manage and change your symptoms. So it's important to talk to your pediatrician or your genetics team if you suspect you have achondroplasia.
If you have a child with achondroplasia, visit askaboutachondroplasia.com to learn more. And be sure to talk with your doctor about the management and treatment options that may be available.
News 25 Weather Cam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Time to take a look outside through our Lerner and Rowe weather cam, and we have a beautiful mid-June day with some scattered clouds in the sky and some breezes are picking up. We'll take a closer look at weather with Romy next.
Weather is sponsored by the Nevada Dairy Farmers and the Dairy Council of Nevada, sharing the love of all things dairy. Celebrate the best moments with milk. Milk the moment. And the weather is also brought to you by the Ponderosa Dairy, Nevada's largest dairy, fresh from our farm to your table.
Hello, Romy here, and it is Tank Top Tuesday. Let's take a look at our surrounding areas forecast. For Inley and Fallon, we have a high of 100, Carson City at 96, Tonopah 93, Goldfield at 95, Beatty at 104, Amargosa at 108, Las Vegas at 110, and Death Valley scorching at 117. Currently here in Pahrump, it is 104 degrees. The high today was 106. Winds coming from the south at 10 miles per hour, humidity at 14%, and the sunrise was at 5:25 a.m. And tonight, the sunset will be at 8:03 p.m., humidity at 15%, winds coming from the southeast at 9 miles per hour, and the low will be 75 degrees. Now let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to be in the triple digits. Friday, a bit breezy with winds of up to 16 miles per hour. Saturday, a high of 97. Sunday, a high of 98. Monday, 101. And Tuesday, all the way up at 104 degrees. And that was our weather. Now back to the desk. Here's Unette.
Thanks so much, Romy. And we'll take any of those days that were under the century mark. Well, that does it for this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, thanks so much for tuning in, and we hope you're having a wonderful Juneteenth week. Good night.